Anybody who's in real estate, finance, uh, uh, credit, I gotta interview, man, because you can never learn enough about these subjects, especially in the black community. This guy right here is a credit professional. He knows how to get your credit right. He knows how to take off those bad marks in your credit. You can never learn enough about credit. Credit is king. Credit is power. And he's coming out with a book too, so just be prepared. Go check out his TikTok, go check out his content. I love you all.
The number one reason that applicants get turned down for employment at
Welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Talks. I am your host, Glassford Crossfield, and we are changing the world one podcast at a time. Our lovely guest, please introduce yourself.
My name is Steve Didier. I am credit expert extraordinaire, I guess. That's my game. Credit, personal credit, business credit, whatever involves credit, I'm in it.
So what drew you to that career field?
Honestly, it was almost a complete accident. In my previous life, I had a real estate company, and so I had a pretty good familiarization with credit, and from working real estate and mortgages. Mm-hmm. And then the crash of 2008 happened, and I got wiped out, completely wiped out. Everything that I built over a 10-year period was just gone, and then I ended up getting a divorce on top of that. So you know how it is with guys, we connect a lot of who we are and our self-worth to our career or our earnings or what we've accomplished. So when all that got taken away from me, you're left with that, like, well, shit, who am I? So I took some time off. Actually, I lived in Mexico for 5 years and kind of did a couple little things here and there, but I'm also kind of an ambitious guy, so I couldn't be a beach bum forever. So I got this bug. Okay, now I got to start building something. And so I figured, okay, the first step is I got to repair my credit, because my credit was horrible. It's like sub 400. It was horrible. So as I got into the credit repair thing, I started helping some other people, and I met a guy who was in credit repair business. And so it just kind of developed organically from there. And then, here we are, almost 6 years later. And, so this became a full-time thing about 4 or 5 years ago. And so now it's a whole different thing. I got the credit education course done. I got a book coming out. So it's blossomed over time.
How old were you when you lost everything?
I was, let me see. It was about 39 or 40.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. And what were some of the things that you did to dig yourself out of that? How old are you now?
I'm 50.
Wow. Wow, you were in impeccable shape. Wow.
Trying, man. Trying.
But what were some of the things you did to dig yourself out of that rut at that age? A lot of people would have thrown in the towel.
Yeah, I mean, I was close. I went through it for a while, man. I got really depressed and kind of just buried my head in the sand. And eventually, like I said, I moved to Mexico for 5 years. So kind of was changing the locations, but I just really kind of focused on me. Like, it sounds cheesy, but kind of meditating and being alone and kind of figuring out really who I was and what I wanted out of life. And then, working out too. Working out has always been a part of my life, but I really kind of focused on that. It's like the one thing that I felt like I could control. It was still kind of in my control, because everything else, like when you go through something like that, you feel like, I was the guy who was in charge. I was running a company. I was doing all this, and you feel like you completely lose control. So I kind of focused on the things I knew I could control, like working out and, developing myself a little bit. And then when I kind of got back into it, for me, it was trying to put together a series of small wins. I'm not trying to look at the whole big picture. Like, okay, I got to be making a couple $100,000 a year again. I'm like, okay, you know what? I just day by day, just got to win. Just like, okay, I want to accomplish this. Setting like smaller goals for myself, even like just tiny goals, like getting up at a certain time. And psychologically, that's a win. You know, those little things that you can kind of string together during the day. And the more wins you get, the kind of the better you start feeling about yourself. But yeah, I was lost for a while. I mean, you think like, you know, at 40 years old, you're like, I'm done, you know, like,
A lot of people have thought that, yeah, man.
Would
yeah.
you would you consider that part of your life a midlife crisis, as they call it?
You know what? Um, I guess in a way, yeah, it was a crisis. It wasn't the, you know, divorce your wife, buy a convertible, and start dating 20-year-old sort of crisis, but you know, it was definitely a crisis. It was, I don't know. Looking back, it's really, I think, helped shape me because I look at life a lot differently now because a lot of then everything that I was striving toward was material things, and not that I don't want that. You know, obviously, making money is part of what I do, but my focus is different. It's not making money for the sake of buying something or getting the next car or getting the next bigger house or anything like that. My whole focus right now is freedom, because that's ultimately that's what I wanted. Right? When I got real with myself, like, okay, what really stirs my passions, what really drives me, and it was freedom. Because that, so try and working towards something that really drives you. Because I thought it was material stuff, but it's not. You know, all the cars in the world didn't make me feel better about myself.
I saw that you have that in your bio that freedom is your passion. And that was gonna be my next question. Why is freedom your passion?
You know what? I don't know. It just is. I kind of had to dig deep to figure out what it was, but you know, I like moving. I like being able to live where I want to live my life how I want to live. You know, I certainly can't punch a clock. I can't do the 9 to 5 thing. I can't sit in a cubicle. You know, that would kill my soul. So
Mm.
it's it was, for me, it was about arranging my life the way that made me happy and not what others think it should be, or you know, society puts all this stuff on us, like what's the definition of success, you know, and every time you try and up this level, there's always somebody at a higher level.
Yeah.
So if you're playing that game where you're always comparing yourself to somebody, which I was, you know, it's not healthy because you're never going to be at the top.
Mm.
So when you say freedom, you mean the freedom to do what you want to do, how you want to do it, and do you mean like financial freedom?
That's part of it. That's part of it, but it's more, kind of more encompassing, like freedom to, how to explain it. Okay, the financial part of it is big time, because if you don't have some level of financial freedom, for me, financial freedom is kind of the way I define it, and that's just my own personal thing, is having enough residual income, whether it be from rental properties or whatever, that it covers your basic expenses. So even if you just wanted to do absolutely nothing, your bills are covered. For me, that's free. Now, I like to, for me, also, it's a little bit more than that, because I want to be able to live where I want to live. You know, I'm going to be moving. I'm in Phoenix right now, but I might move back to Mexico for a little while. And then I was thinking checking out Costa Rica. So, you know, that kind of freedom. Right now, I don't have like the super financial freedom where I could stop working. I'm not there yet. But I do have that location freedom, because as long as I can get cell phone service and internet, I can run my businesses from wherever.
Got you. So what would you say are some of the best tactics to obtain freedom?
Well, I guess defining what freedom means to you is the first thing. It's going to be different for everybody. For me, if I look at that definition of freedom of having that residual income, I would say that real estate, cash flow from real estate, and businesses that there's nothing ever going to be fully on autopilot. It doesn't exist. But you know, like with my credit education course and some other things, there's going to be coming to market, and I won't have to be, you know, like right now I have to talk to people, I have to sell, I have to do credit coaching, I have to work with people, and that's great. I love it because I'm helping people. But I'm also working behind the scenes to have products that will sell, that people can just log online. I run marketing, they buy it, so it produces cash flow. And obviously, I still have to monitor it and still have to do a lot of things with that, but it's not as work intensive. But I think real estate, especially given my background, for me, I think real estate is one of the primary ways that you can achieve that level of financial freedom.
So for someone that wants to get into that field, how would you advise them to start? Like, how would you advise them to get into real estate, or how would you advise someone to wanna? What's the best way for them to fix their credit as well?
Well, let's look at the credit thing first. With the credit, a lot of people do what I did. If they end up in a situation in life where it gets ruined, you kind of bury your head in your sand and you ignore it, right? You don't want to look at it, you don't want to face it. And that's one of the first things to do is kind of, face where you're at, wherever that is. And just kind of get really clear where you're at and what you want to accomplish with it. And then with fixing a credit, it's tough because I would say, hire a credit repair company. But most of the credit repair, unfortunately, the whole industry is full of scam artists and scumbags and amateurs, and there's a lot of people in it for the quick buck, and they're not really doing the right thing. So it's not as easy as just signing up with a credit repair company. You got to find a good one, somebody who's going to do the right thing and really help you and be honest and ethical with it. And that can be tough to find. There's some good people out there, some good companies, but the majority of them are not, unfortunately. But building the credit, there's getting the negative stuff off the credit report is a big part of it. But then the other part is building your credit intentionally. And that, there's steps that you can take through that, depending on where your score is, what credit card you're going to get next and how add loans and different things like that. But it's really unique to each person because each person's credit report looks different and each person's goals are different as well.
And real estate, what's the best way to get started in real estate?
Well, the best way to get started in real estate, there's a lot of different ways to tackle it. What I'm focusing on right now is buying cheaper properties. Because right now the real estate market is so hot. I mean, if you look at Florida or here in Phoenix or Vegas or California or Seattle, prices are going through the roof, and it can be kind of tough to get in on that. Like I was trying to buy a house in Florida that I was going to set up for Airbnb, because you can make a lot of extra profit of doing Airbnb as opposed to just regular rentals. But the market is so hot. Property comes on, in the Tampa area where I was looking, or Miami, and the property will come on, they'll get 20 offers the first couple of days.
Wow.
So it's tough to compete with that. And so I kind of put that on the back burner. And what I'm focused on now is acquiring smaller properties like in the Midwest, Indiana, Ohio, Minnesota, Wisconsin, where you can pick up houses that need repair or whatever, 60, 70,000. So it's a lot easier especially for somebody who's trying to break into that. If you've got your credit to where you can qualify, it's a lot easier to come up with that kind of down payment on a $60,000 property as opposed to a $400,000 or $500,000 property. And then you can build cash flow. It won't be great, on those properties. You fix them up, rent them out. You may be only putting $300 a month in your pocket, but it's a start.
It's a good start, and you get enough of those,
Yep. And you got 10. You got $3,000 coming in. Plus, you're getting the tax write-offs and all of them. Plus, you're getting the appreciation on all of them. So it's a good way to get into the market.
So basically, like fixer-uppers, I guess.
That's what I'm going after. So just kind of lay out the game plan that I'm using. I found a really good hard money guy. So you don't have to go through the traditional qualifying. They more qualify the property. Now, the money is not cheap. It's not a great loan, but when you're buying properties that need some fixing up, a lot of banks won't lend on those. So found a hard money guy, acquiring the properties and fixing them up, and then going and doing a traditional bank loan to refinance out of it. Now it's in good shape and rent it out. Now the bank looks at it like, oh, okay, well, you have equity in there, so you only have to do like 70 or 80% loan to value. Rent it out, you're cash flowing. Now you free up some money to go do another one and another one and another one. and just kind of keep that going. The biggest challenge is finding them.
You being in credit, how accurate is Credit Karma? Because to me, it seems like BS.
Credit Karma's garbage.
Yeah.
Everybody's on Credit Karma. The important thing to note about Credit Karma is like everybody thinks that Credit Karma is providing them a service, but that's not the case because you're not paying for anything. They have no obligation to provide you with anything. They're not giving you a product, you're the product, because the whole business model of Credit Karma is when you sign up for that and you sign the fine print, you're giving Credit Karma the permission to market your information to whoever and however they want.
Wow.
That's how they make money. They're selling you.
Wow.
I gotta click that. They should go viral.
What about Experian and what about Experian?
Experian is good, and one of the backing up with whether no matter what you're looking at, Experian or Credit Karma or any of the credit monitoring, you have to be careful to look at what scores they're providing because we've all got like 100 different credit scores. You've got a couple different major scoring models, and what a lot of those consumer ones will use, like Credit Karma, they use like a Vantage 3.0 model to generate the scores. The problem with that is no lender actually uses the Vantage scoring model to qualify people. So like FICO is the main one, but even with FICO, everybody always asks me when I'm doing credit, like, hey, what's my FICO score? I'm like, well, you mean FICO version 2, version 3, version 4, 5, 6? They just came out with 10 and 10T end of last year. So then you got those, you got the subversions, like you have FICO 8, then you have FICO 8 auto specific version, FICO 8 credit card specific version, and you spread those across 3 bureaus, you got a whole bunch of credit scores. But not any of them are wrong or right, as long as they're FICO, whatever credit monitoring you're using, whether it's Experian, there's some good ones out there. I don't particularly like Experian for myself because, every day I'm going to war with the bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. They're the ones that I'm fighting with to get this negative stuff off for my clients. So I don't want to fund the enemy. So
what do you use?
I use a product, a credit monitoring. I have 2 actually. One is My Score IQ, and if you want, you can get a discount on that. I got a link, whatever, but also myfico.com, because myfico.com will give you all of the different FICO scores. It's the most expensive of all of them. It's like $40 a month, but you get all of your scores. So it's kind of a good resource to have if you're really focusing on your credit.
But what is the benefit of paying? Like, what do I get in return of that? Like, how will it better me? Would it better me in a sense of knowing an accurate score, or will it better me in a sense of giving me tips to build my credit?
It's actually a really good question. With those credit monitoring scores, like the My Score IQ, that's what I use for most of my clients. You do get the scores, and you get a full credit report every 30 days. So you can really kind of monitor what's on that. But they have a lot of other things as well. They have their credit monitoring. So if there's anybody does an inquiry, like maybe somebody steals your information on the dark web or something, and they try and set up an account, or they apply for credit in your name, you get an alert. So that way,
Well, it keeps you protected.
You also got like $1 million in fraud insurance, and they have like fraud remediation services and stuff like that. So if somebody steals your identity, they help you fix it, and they also cover a significant portion of the costs as well, because it can be really damaging to be the victim of identity theft. So yeah, it's like insurance for your credit score, essentially.
Okay.
So how do you? I've been watching your Instagram story, and you're up 4:30, 5 a.m. Seems like almost every day. So how do you stay motivated?
I don't.
The next question is gonna be, well, what do you do when you're not motivated?
It's discipline. It's doing it when you don't feel like doing it.
Okay, I hear this a lot, but listen, I don't feel like doing it. So how do I do it anyway in spite of it?
Man, that's a good question. it's just doing it. Like I'm not motivated to get out of bed at 4:15 in the morning. That sucks. I hate it. Every single morning, I hate it. But I know it's like getting those wins, right? I know if I just do it, okay, my day's off to a good start. That's the first win of the day, is getting out of bed, not hitting the snooze button, just doing it. And then I get up and I read for a little bit to kind of get my mind frame right, and I eat. And I'm pretty regimented. I always eat the same thing. I got oatmeal with protein powder mix in it. And then during my pre-workout and head to the gym, because I know if I don't get my workouts in early in the morning,
You're not gonna get to it.
not going to get it. Because a lot of times I'm working till like 9 o'clock at night, and then I'm burned. And the last thing I want to do is go to the gym. So for me, working out and the fitness part of it is core to everything that I do. That's like the foundation of everything. And that discipline, I was in the Army for a long time, so they just, I wasn't motivated to get out of bed either, but they motivated you. So
Yeah, they got unique ways of doing it over there.
yeah, it's a different atmosphere. So I just try and
man.
For me, I make it non-negotiable. If I say I'm gonna get up in the morning, then that's a contract I have with myself.
We talked about this a little bit in DMs. Kobe said I don't negotiate myself at all. Because when you wake up that early, there's a part he's like, man, just 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes. Nope, I said I was gonna be up at 4:15. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna start my day at 4:15. Kobe said the same thing. I do not negotiate with myself.
Yeah, and that he's one of the guys that I look to for inspiration, because he was a beast. He outworked everybody. And like you said, nothing was negotiable. If he said he was going to do something, you do it. You watch his videos, he's like, you get up this time, and now you get 2 extra workouts in where everybody else is only getting 2. You're getting 4.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to double the progress that you make over time, and you're going to start lapping these people.
Man, how many hours of sleep would you say you normally get?
6.5.
That's solid, especially that's solid.
What's that?
It's not bad actually.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I would prefer to get more, but I don't have time. So like Sundays, I don't get up. Sundays, I just shut my phone off, and whenever I wake up, I wake up. So.
God.
You said you served in the military. How many years?
Just 3 years. Yeah.
What was your MOS?
I was 13 Bravo in the Army, so artillery, which is why I can't hear you.
Okay. You was active?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
It was a good experience. I didn't want to stay in, but it was a good experience while it lasted.
Yeah, I didn't want to stay in either. Yeah.
Oh, were you? How long did you serve?
Yeah, 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got out in like 2019.
Oh, okay. Okay. What was your MOS?
92 Alpha supply.
Okay.
Nothing special.
So probably more useful than artillery.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact, though.
It's true.
What would you say is the number one rule that successful people abide by? Are you having a hard time just picking one?
Yeah. I think for me, the 2 most important things, one is discipline, because we're not going to feel like doing the stuff we have to do every day. We're not. And it's not going to be motivation. It's not going to be inspiration. It's not going to be any of that stuff that gets us through. It's going to be the discipline to just put the blinders on and do it. So that would be the first thing. I think the second thing, as for me anyway, is gratitude. Being grateful for what I have. Never complacent, not satisfied, but grateful for what I have. I always want more. I always want to be striving for more and leveling up and becoming a better version of myself in all, whether it's spiritually, physically, financially, whatever. But a lot of people kind of do that deferred happiness. They're not grateful for or happy where they're at, or grateful for what they do have. And man, I've been fortunate enough to travel, and we've got it lucky. There are people hungry. I mean, it sounds cliche or whatever, but a lot of people don't got it good like we do here in the US. I mean, we have our problems obviously, but overall, you got a roof over your head, and you got food to eat, you're ahead of a lot of people in this world.
Mm,
So
first world problems. What would
Yeah,
you say is the number one thing that successful people avoid?
probably procrastination.
Mm.
If I had to pick one, that'd probably be it, because I was bad with that early on, and like, oh, I'll just put it off, put it off. You just got to get it. There's a old. You guys heard of Brian Tracy?
I think I have. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's like an old school motivational speaker.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, go.
old guy. I think he's still alive, but yeah, he's old school. But he wrote a book called Eat That Frog.
Yeah, I know where this is headed. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. So yeah, pick the thing that you don't want to do and do
Do it
that
first.
first.
Yeah.
you know, or the thing that's going to be most important to your success that day. Get on that right away, no matter what you feel like. So it kind of ties in with discipline as well.
mm,
So you said you had a problem with procrastination early on. So when did you kind of flip the switch to the man that you are today? Around what age?
Probably my early 30s. Well, I mean, I've been evolving a lot since then, but that's really when I was doing real estate, and I was coming up and becoming really successful at it. I had to learn time management because you're getting pulled in all these different directions. You got so much stuff to do. So I really had to figure out time management and how to schedule my day so that these things weren't getting pushed off, or I wasn't procrastinating on those important things. Because there's a difference between urgent and important. Or urgent, oh, hey, somebody calls you in the middle of stuff and you're like, oh, I got to do this, handle that, and then handle that, and then handle that. And then by the end of the day, you handle all these urgent problems and you haven't put any work into stuff that's important to growing your business. So I think that, yeah, it was probably my early 30s where I kind of got a much better handle on that aspect, like time management and focusing on the stuff that's really important.
Mm.
would you say that you're a late bloomer for when it came to things?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say.
Do you find it that most men that you speak to kind of flip the switch around that age, or you don't really know, or you haven't really asked?
I would say that if they're going to flip that switch, it usually is going to happen sometime in their 30s. I mean, there's guys obviously who are beasts in their 20s and they're grinding and they're putting focus into success and all that. I wasn't one of that. I was in the military, and then after that I was partying and I was doing whatever, and I had fun, but I was in Vegas and I was working in the clubs, and so I was kind of having fun. I wasn't really focused on any sort of end goal.
Mm.
you know, I was kind of drifting, but then, that I started like, okay, well, this can't last forever, so I got to figure out something. And that's how I kind of segued into real estate. And then, that's also the time where I really started kind of hardcore self-development, personal development.
Mm.
I got around the right people.
Mm.
What would
So,
you? Yeah.
so it's safe. You said you got around the right people. So it's safe to say that the people you have around really shape who you are and what you become.
In a big, big way. Yeah. Because there's that old saying, if you hang around 5 broke people, you're going to be the 6th. You hang around 5 alcoholics, you're going to be the 6th. But if you hang around 5 rich people, you're going to be the 6th. So yeah, I think that is something else that I learned probably in my 30s is the people that you hang around have a huge influence on your development. Huge. So you got to be really, really picky about people that you spend your time and your energy with. And sometimes, unfortunately, as you grow, other people don't grow. And it's not saying you got to hate on them or anything else like that, but just got to let them go. People don't want to grow with you. You got to keep going, and you're going to go through different phases. I remember when I started at my real estate brokerage, the guy who owned the company, I was coming from bartending and bouncing and stuff like that. And he was like, look, 6 months from now, you're going to be making really good money. He's like, the friends that you have right now are not going to be your friends in 6, 9, 12 months. He's like, there might be a few, but most of the people you hang around, right, they're not going to go because you're going to be growing. You're going to be expanding and making a lot more money. And he was absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Did you find it that you have to find the group first? I mean, not necessarily depend on the group for your own personal development, but did you feel like you had to find the group first and then the growth happened after that? Or you were growing exponentially yourself and then the kind of people just kind of gravitated to you?
It's a little bit of both. And that can be one of the difficult things about, okay, once you start realizing that the people around you help shape you in a big way, you want to, sometimes you got to change your circle of friends. You got to change your social circles. And depending on where you grow up, like I grew up on a small little farm in central Minnesota. There was nobody around me who had a bunch of money. There was no rich people. There wasn't even BMWs. Like people were at a certain level and they were comfortable. Like I was good as a kid, I never missed any meals and all that, but I certainly wasn't exposed to wealth. You get wealthy families, the conversation is different at the dinner table than, where I grew up. So I was in the military. And then once I kind of got into real estate, that's where I really made that intentional to seek out and find people who are doing better than me so I can learn from them. Because in the Army, you were in the Army, like there's not a whole bunch of people that are super success motivated and stuff like that. You're all going to the club on Thursday night.
You're Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, every night. That's about it. So, yeah, I mean, you learned a lot of things in the Army, discipline and all that. But, the people that, I know, at least when I was in combat arms, it's not necessarily the best and the brightest, So, it's not knocking on anybody, but it wasn't a group of guys that were all focused on success and getting ahead in life.
Did you use your VA loan yet to purchase a home?
I've got that. I've used it before, but now it's free. So that's what I was actually looking to use in buying, that house in Florida that I was talking about. But, it's with these people coming in and paying, $50,000 over list cash, $100,000 over list, they don't want to mess with the VA loan. So it is what it is, man. It's a good tool though, especially if you have, you can qualify for any sort of disability.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, if you have at least 10% disability, as far as Uncle Sam is concerned, that's a true no money down loan because they waive the funding fee. And that, that's really using other people's money to acquire real estate.
Yeah. I'm at 90% right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm working my way up.
Yeah, you're straight. I'm like 10% disabled. They gave me 10% for my hearing. That's about it.
Yeah, that's gas money. Wow.
Yeah, but I might go in and get reevaluated. We'll see.
Please do.
Right? It's free money, right?
Exactly. That's how I'm living, for real.
Well, what would you say is the most impactful book that you've read?
Man, I read a lot. It's tough to narrow it down. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
Probably one of them. Another one that had a big impact on me, especially when I was trying to figure out what I wanted, as far as in terms of freedom and stuff like that. I read a book by Tim Ferriss called The 4-Hour Workweek.
Yeah, got that on the list too.
Yep. That opened my eyes to the different possibilities in terms of freedom. And that was a really good book. Recently, I read The Discipline. Was it Jocko Willink? The Navy SEAL guy.
I don't know.
What was it? I thought I had it sitting around here. Oh, and the book I'm reading right now.
The Non-Negotiable, right?
Really, really good.
Yeah,
Non-Negotiable.
I added that to the list too. Wow.
Solid, man. Solid.
You dropped some fire quotes on Instagram, man. Wow. Yo,
Like this book is full of them. Like a lot of people write this guy off, because he was a felon, did 10 years, whatever. He shouts, he screams, he curses, whatever. But man, the guy is like real world knowledge. He's on it, man. He's on it. And that's that mindset thing. It's all, the whole book is about mindset.
How important is mindset when it comes to the things you do and the life you're living?
Huge, huge. Because the mindset encompasses everything, man. I did a video on TikTok that got a lot of views. Some people loved it, some people hated it. Some people got really pissed off. But it was about I was talking about a credit card I have that it's a $550 annual fee. And it's one of the hardest credit cards you get. It's got
Sapphire Reserve?
Sapphire Reserve, yep. And every time, like, I'll get different reaction. I'll tell people that I'm paying a $550 annual fee, and like, some people are like, "Oh, that's really cool. What's the card provide?" They'll ask about the benefits. Some people are just like, "Oh, that's stupid. I would never pay $550 to have a credit card." So I did a video about that.
Don't qualify for the credit card though.
What's that?
You probably don't qualify for the credit card.
Exactly. And I like to use that same verbiage in my video of like, there's only two reasons you'd say that is like, you either don't qualify for the card or you're financially illiterate. It's one or two. So, everybody's like, "Oh, you're an arrogant asshole." I'm like, "No, I'm spitting the truth." Like, it is what it is. Like that card pays for itself probably 5 to 10 times over in the course of a year for me in the benefits and things like that. So then I did a follow-up. Like, I got a lot of hate on that, which is cool. Like, I love it because at least people are feeling something. But then I did a follow-up video on mindset. I'm like, it's that broke versus poor. Like, broke is a temporary financial situation. Poor is a mindset. And poor is a mindset that'll hold you back, man. Like, and that can come from a lot of different things. It can come from your upbringing. It can come from, your parents or family. It can come from your environment. There's just a lot of different things where you just don't accept certain things as possible. Like, "Oh, that's just stupid. Nobody should. Well, that's just stupid." Like $550 annual fee. I'm like, well, if you open your mind a little bit to the possibilities, like, for example, you get two people standing on the sidewalk and they see a guy drive by in a Ferrari. Like, the one guy's gonna be like, maybe the broke guy is gonna be like, "Oh shit, that inspires me. I love seeing that because if he can do it, I can do it. That I'm gonna drive that car one day. I don't care where I'm at right now. I may not have any money in my pocket, but one day I'm gonna get that." Okay, you guys broke. The poor guy is gonna be like, $300,000 for a car. That's just stupid. I would even if I had that money, I would never do it. That's just dumb. Because they just don't see the possibilities of them ever reaching that. And that poor mindset is what keeps you poor. Like, you look at lottery winners, poor mindset. 90% of them are broke after 3 years.
Athletes, rappers as well.
Yeah, same thing. Oh, like Allen Iverson, man. Guy made tons of money. I think he made $200 million over the course of his career. Now he's got like nothing.
Yeah, man.
So it's sad, but especially, guys like that, most of those guys are probably coming from, urban inner city type thing, and they've never been exposed to anything like that. So they don't know how to handle that kind of money. Like, you ever listen to Shaquille O'Neal? Like, he does a lot of those videos and stuff.
Yeah.
That guy is amazing because he was like, he had that same sort of thing, like, I remember a video he did, he got his $1 million bonus or whatever. So he said, "I went and bought myself a Mercedes. I bought my dad one. I bought my mom one. And then my brother." And then he's like, his accountant sit down. He's like, "You don't have any money." He's like, "No, I still got money." He's like, "No, you got taxes. You got this, you got that." like you're broke. And he's like, "Oh shit." So he's like, "Okay, I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to hire." So he hired an accountant, like an older Jewish guy.
Smart man.
That was the guy who wasn't promising him everything. All these other guys that he talked to, these money managers, were like, "Oh yeah, we're going to make you rich, that, blah, blah." And this guy was like, "No, we're going to set you for life. We're going to have you do it right." And this guy I went with, and now look at him. The guy owns everything.
Literally.
Starbucks, Five Guys, like everything.
He's on Papa John's executive board.
Yes. I mean, I look at guys like Shaq. I'm like, that kind of stuff inspires me.
For real.
You can overcome like where you came from, and a lot of things that get ingrained in us. Like I don't come from like that kind of a background, but the farm communities in Minnesota, nobody talks about making money or getting rich or investing or anything like that. So you're not exposed to anything like that. So anybody who comes from whatever background like that and then gets over a lot of those ingrained stuff from their childhood, I mean, that's super impressive to me.
Mm.
Super impressive.
So, is it safe to say you're a millionaire?
No, I wouldn't say so yet. I had to come back. You know what I mean? I literally lost everything, and then I didn't really get my stuff in order. I mean, I maybe if it depends on valuation of businesses and stuff like that. Maybe you could stir the numbers and say I am, but I don't consider myself that way. I'm still striving for that.
Gotcha. So you might not be a millionaire, but you seem to be doing fairly well for yourself. Have women ever been a distraction for you? And if they were, how did you combat that?
Yeah. Yeah. Women can be a huge distraction. And I think that's probably why my 20s were just kind of nothing. I was having way too much fun in Vegas, man, or in the Army. I mean, that's all you're doing is out drinking and chasing.
Yeah.
So I'd say, yeah. And how to combat that? That could be a tough one, man. But you got to focus. You got to focus on what you want and realize. You got to realize the distraction. And it was with some guys, you kind of got to look at it like, okay, if you focus on the money, the women will be there.
Mm.
There is no doubt. You get that bag, you make that money, the women will be there. That's not the problem.
That was gonna be my next. That was gonna be my next question. So, when you got the money, you saw the women coming in abundance. How did you? Because you still trying to climb your way up. So how did you combat that situation?
Well, I made a really bad mistake, and I got married early 30s because I'd come up, I had all the stuff, the material stuff, and I met this woman. She was a model, and she had the world by the balls, and she was dating athletes and everything else, and we ended up getting married, and I didn't realize how fast she could spend money.
She was a liability.
Yeah. And I didn't get it. And it was partially ego, like, okay, whatever, I'll just make more.
Mm.
And instead of being like, okay, hold on, we're not there yet. We need to take this money, instead of buying Gucci bags and Fendi's and Hermes and all that kind of stuff, we need to be putting it into properties. We need to be putting it in investments. We need, that kind of stuff. I didn't know enough, and I wasn't, maybe, what's the word, secure in who I was enough to be like, hey, no. Maybe I was still trying to prove myself. I don't know what the psychology was, or I didn't have a life experience on how to handle that money or whatever from where I came from. But yeah, that was probably the biggest, even though I wasn't out chasing women, that was probably the biggest detriment to my financial development at that point.
Are you more so upset that you got married at all, or are you more so upset that you chose that woman?
I'm not upset that I got married at all. I actually, especially at this stage of my life, I actually prefer being with one good woman. But at the time, I'm more upset that not that maybe got married to that woman, but I didn't take charge of that.
Mm-hmm.
I let her
run things.
I let her spend whatever the hell she wanted to spend and all that. And I didn't, that wouldn't happen now. Of course, I wouldn't date somebody who's just out buying. I mean, she was amount of stuff she was buying, man. It was like I didn't even know you could spend $4,000 on a pair of shoes. Like, I'd never been exposed to that stuff. She's buying fur coats for like $30,000 and different stuff. I'm like,
30 racks on a coat is crazy.
Right. It was that level of stuff. And so if I had took, I don't regret anything in life, but if I could go back and do it over, I would take all that money that I was making the shoe spending on this stuff, and I would have just been dumping it into properties. And right now, I'd be set for sure. Like over the top set. But, you live and learn, right? So, making mistakes, it's only a mistake if you don't learn from it.
So you asked for the divorce?
Yeah, it was a mutual thing, that, and when the crash hit in 08, I was out of money, so it was one of those things where we just split. But I felt such an amazing amount of freedom when we finally split. It was awesome. It was it was good.
Has she ever tried to come back?
What's that?
Has she ever tried to come back?
No, nah, she hates me, which is good. I haven't heard from her, nothing, and that's fine. That's the way it should be.
What did you do, man? Wait, I'm getting you $30,000 coach and you hate me? The nerve.
Yeah. So it's it's just one of those things, man. Like I said, if I could go back and do it over, I would do things completely different. But I learned from it, so I will not make those mistakes again. Like the girl I'm with now, she's solid. So she's a financial advisor. She's got her money right. She ain't trying to spend on stupid stuff. I think she got maybe one brand name purse. That's it. Wonderful. So she's focused on the long term. She's focused on investing. She's focused on getting that cash flow, not just blowing it on dumb shit.
Do you have or want any kids?
I don't have any kids, and I don't think at this point in life is something that I want. If I was younger, maybe, yeah. But like right now, at 50 and wanting the freedom that I want to just bounce from wherever I want to go and stuff like that, I don't think kids are in the picture for me.
What about leaving a legacy, like your name?
I thought about that because
I know you've thought about that. Because
absolutely
you want to pass it on to.
We're guys, right? Of course we think about that. We want to see a part of ourselves go on, right? I had to really kind of sit down with myself again 3 years ago and be like, okay, is this something that I want or something I don't want? And then I kind of do. I'm like, okay, why? And the only reason I could come up with for a why was just that kind of ego. I want to see a part of myself go on, like a legacy, things like that. I'm like, is that really the right reason to have kids? Maybe. I don't know.
What do you think would be the right reason to have kids?
What's that?
What do you think would be the right reason to have kids?
I think because you really like kids and you really want to nurture and put a lot of yourself into raising a good, productive human being, and you want that family environment. I think that would be the right reason to have kids.
So the woman you have today, what makes her so special that you're willing to? Because you can argue that you can still be Steve of old.
That would be really easy. She ultimately, it boils down to this. She brings peace into my life.
Amen.
That's it. No drama, no bullshit. Just just love, support, and we get along real good. We have fun. We're like friends, but ultimately, she brings peace into my life. There is no drama, no distraction. Lets me do what I need to do. And
if you don't mind me asking, how old is she?
31.
That's so crazy because I'm really into like the relationships. I'm reading a book right now called Settled for Mr. Good Enough. And a lot of women don't they can't do what you do, Steve. A woman, you don't see 50-year-old women pulling 30-year-old men.
No.
So they don't have as much time, and I'm glad we had this conversation. Wow, that's really interesting. because the women, I'm sorry to cut you off, the women around your age, they're a lot more difficult to deal with more times than not, right?
They can be. They can be. And, that's, man, I'm an asshole, but, I just I like younger women. It just is what it is. So,
It comes
yeah,
because they look better, and if you wanted to have a kid with her, you could.
right. And, that honestly, that's something that may become an issue between us. Because I think she's kind of leaning that way and I'm leaning the other way. So who knows, but if it does happen to that, if that's what happens, then that's good. I have nothing but love for her. She's an amazing woman, and there's nothing but love and respect for her. And if she wants to take that route, then I'll just offer my full support.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the side of Steve Jr. I'm sorry. I don't want it to end with you. Call me selfish. I don't want it to end with you, man.
Like one of my buddies was telling me that same thing. He's like, I need a Steve Jr. He's like, I'm like, man.
It's the universe, man.
I'm sorry, but I'm team FTK, meaning team fuck them kids. No kids. What?
Oh man, I like a certain lifestyle. And
all right, so all right, no, I understand that, and I understand from both perspectives. I think there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah. Are you gonna have kids? Do you have kids?
I do not. I do want one day though. We both don't.
Okay.
All
right. So you're like no kids, your team kids.
Listen, I can be explicit. The way he likes to have sex, he's gonna have kids. So I don't. that's unavoidable. I'll just keep it like that.
I made this far, so
you're headed towards a certain level of success. When it's all said and done, when you're 80 and you've done everything that you wanted to accomplish, what then? What are you just gonna pass it on to your wife, and then you don't have kids with her? Like then you can't take it with you, Steve.
No, you can't. But you know what? I'm the oldest of 5, so I've got 12 nieces and nephews.
Okay.
So I've got a.
It's not the same, Steve. Come on.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's close, but it's not the same, man.
Who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind, and when you start seeing the end in sight, you're like, oof, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, you have that decision because you look like you're feeling good shape. You can still have a kid at 65 if you wanted to. It's going to be a bit more physically draining, but it's possible.
It's possible. There's the thing, like, I've got a really good friend of mine. He does really well, but he lives in Mexico. And like I said, I might be moving back there, but in Mexico, it's a whole different thing because he's one of those guys. He's like, no, you need to have kids. I'm like, nah, man. He's like, no. He's like, no. I'm like, that's too much work. They interfere with my life. So, He's like, no. He's like, look. He's like, I got a nanny for the day. I got a nanny for the night. I got a maid for the house. He's like, I don't cook. I don't clean. I don't change diapers. I don't do anything. I just take them out and just take them to the pool and do all the good stuff with them. I'm like, well, that's another way of going about it too. Get all the good aspects of it. You don't have to deal with any of the stuff you don't like. I don't know.
So my final question for you is, what is the biggest piece of advice you would give to someone who's trying to repair their credit?
Learn the credit game. That's it. The whole credit system in the US is rigged. It's rigged for us to fail. Wow. No doubt. It's a rigged game, but there are rules to the game. And if you learn those rules, then you can play to win. That's it. So know what you're doing and, build your credit with intention. It's like anything else. Put your focus on it. Learn it. I mean, it's not any particular demographic. It's everybody. Nobody is taught about credit unless you're fortunate to come from a family that's, wealthy or really well off. They're teaching their kids about investing. They're teaching their kids about credit. They're teaching their kids about all that. 90% of the population is not learning anything about credit at all. My dad, he's an amazing man, but he's old school. He's 80 years old. So like he's from a different era and he doesn't realize how critical credit is to life in our society today, in the US anyway. So like his whole credit education for me was, hey, if you can't afford the shit, don't buy it. That's it. That was it. So I didn't learn anything about credit. So when you come out of high school and like I was in college for about 6 weeks, but before I quit, but it was, you know, you get the little package, they give you a credit card. I'm like, oh, free money. I went out and bought shoes or whatever, you know, like I didn't know. I didn't know how important it was. I didn't know how to manage it. I didn't know anything. So, you know, I think that learning the credit game, you know, educating yourself is critical to everything, you know, whether it's a credit or investing or just financial literacy in general. Super important.
Do you have any books on credit to recommend?
Yeah, mine's going to be coming out soon. I'd recommend that one.
Oh, is it going to be on Amazon, Kindle?
It's going to be. I haven't settled on it. The book is written. It's done. It's in editing, but I don't have a name solidified yet.
All right, I'm gonna send you 5 names by the start of next week. Got you.
All right. So, like for publishing and stuff.
I mean, just the name of the book, right? That's what you're talking about.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. I've got a couple in mind, so we'll see how. But I'll take any suggestions. If you could hit something hot, that'd be great, because I haven't really settled on anything. I haven't found anything that's really got me yet. So,
yeah,
and then if you guys have me on sometime in the future, I'll actually have the book, and you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, Steve, we'll be in contact. Don't worry.
I appreciate it. I didn't really know what to expect. You know, we talked a little bit, but that was good. I like it. It's not just credit talk. It's like overall, I like it.
I appreciate that. Well, Steve, that is all the questions I have for you today. You have been a wonderful guest, and I thank you sincerely.
I appreciate both of you, man. Thank you. I really do. The opportunity to be on the podcast is good. So.